All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna look at its local Google search, city Google search, see if it has BSS for either of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers, turn them into the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned post, home post on the video, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if a boudoir photography business is rising, they're probably most likely bringing in peace from the entire intent spectrum, way over on the left, highest intent, way over on the right, lowest intent. If a boudoir photography business is falling, they're missing at least one or one cohort, or at least probably two cohorts as well from this intent spectrum. Now, way over on the left, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. But way on the left, that's what we're talking about here. These videos, talking about the highest intent peeps, people searching for boudoir photo shoots right now in our, right in our city, searching on social media, searching on Google, and wherever on the left, the lowest intent people. That's our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, kind of a unique niched problem. And we actually, with that brand, we currently only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So now onward. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots on page 1 of Google, that means we're on page, page 2 or deeper. That's gonna be a fast death for our business because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even make it to page 2. They're page 1 only searches. And so if we're stuck on page 0, that's a fast track to death. And if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's not good enough either, because then we're looking the same as all the other boudoir photographers. Probably going to be none other boudoir photographers. So buyers are just going to click and open up everybody's link, get a quote from everyone, price shop everyone. Whereas 80% of those buyers, the bulk that we care about, will never even go to page 2. So even on page 1, we're still getting super, super, super price shopped. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 in Google is not normal. It's an extremely small number. It's normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So 0 or 1 slot on page 1 of Google, extremely, extremely, extremely common though. People are accepting of it being common because people do not know about the false belief of page 1 equality. Now, the market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Someone's getting a new iPhone, they're throwing up on Google My Business profile and Google Maps. They got their website app, trying to rank page 1 for boudoir photographer. And so more supply. Same with someone's getting a new camera, and then they're talking, they're posting in the mom Facebook groups saying that, saying they offer boudoir shoots now as well. Again, another increase in supply. And COVID was a big, massive supply shock of boudoir photographers because a lot of people lost their jobs. People still need to earn money though. Everyone's got a phone with basically everyone's got a phone with a super powered camera. So offering boudoir photo shoots even for new peeps was, kind of an easy in. And as a result, super increased the supply of boudoir photographers. And if there's the same number of buyers remained, then then it's going to be harder and harder for sellers to make the same amount of money. Now, false belief of page 1 equality, this, from what I've seen, is the #1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. What this is boudoir photographers saying, all right, I got 1 slot on page 1 here on my website, and some other boudoir photographers came in, entered the marketplace, got their website ranked higher than mine. So, pushing me down to page 2, but that's simply how it is. Hopefully one of them deletes their websites and maybe Google will put me back on page 1. Because right now I'm invisible on page 2. Approximately 80% of searchers never even get to me. And, just kind of letting those things happen. That's a false belief. Google actually will give us as many slots on page 1 as we want, as we put in the effort to acquire. And Google wants to give us those slots. I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google with Well, in only 10 days with this new methodology I developed. Now, final piece here on the left side, a boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. So left side of our universe, disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, that's because, if we got BSS, we're either 0 1 slot on page 1. So basically, we're either on page 2 of Google, which means we're definitely disappearing. Approximately 80% of searches never even get to page 2. And if we're on page 1, then, and we only got one slot, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're being price shopped to death, and we're actually, disappearing as well. And so, a disappearing boudoir photographer, having BSS, this is the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning flag, the warning light, check engine light going on, saying, hey, we are on a path now to actually lose for the boudoir photography business itself to disappear. But luckily, we now have a solution. So that solution, we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And when we treat, so we invented this, so that's how I know it works. It's exactly what the name is, social search saturation. We're saturating social search. And for the highest intent keywords. And basically, it's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains. When we saturate social search, there's like these small streams, the small rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America. They actually flow into the Amazon River. And with the Amazon River, what actually happens is they all converge to the Amazon River. That's like conversion on page 1 of Google. Now, this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually allows them to overcome market saturation extremely quickly. The only one other option would be, actually having a well-known brand. That takes, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years. AI is here, coming to take people's jobs, and we got to max rank as fast as possible, as there's a whole bunch of boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. So, SQ methodology, yeah, it is the only thing I've seen for boudoir photographers that successfully enables them to fight back and overcome market saturation. I mean, imagine if there's a million boudoir photographers in San Francisco, and we're one of them. Everyone's got a website competing to be page 1 on Google. And what actually happens is we max out our S-cubed methodology, literally basically do it as max as possible. And as a result, we're getting like the first 300 slots on social search, first 300 slots on Google search. And when we do that, whenever any buyer searches for Google or, on Google or social search, high intent keywords for boudoir photo shoot in their city, we're basically the only one they find for the first 300 slots. And, we essentially pushed all the competition down to slots 301 or later. So on Google, it's 10 organic slots per page. And 10 organic slots per page is, that's 30 pages we're taking up. Buyers essentially got to go to page 31 to even find out that we are, to find out our competitors. So obviously, whose business is growing in this scenario? Ours, because we saturated basically kind of everywhere they can look. So again, this SQ methodology is the only solution I've seen that allows boudoir photographers to successfully escape markets or successfully grow in spite of market saturation, kind of no matter how many boudoir photographers are out there. That happens relatively quickly. Brand, dude, takes like 5 to 10 years. So we ain't got no time to build brand right now. Now, once you're with SQ methodology, we have page 1 visibility. And kind of an initial bonus benefit we get from this is every new slot we take on page 1 of Google, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So when we do that, when we make them invisible, we know that literally 80% of boudoir photographers or searchers do literally never go to page 2. So if we kick them onto page 2, off page 1 and on page 2 deeper, they're effectively invisible to approximately 80% of the market. So that's an extra immediate benefit. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us. So when we get that, we have the GBC recommended minimum of in 3 out of 10 slots on Google search page one. Because the 3 out of 10 slots, a lot of boudoir photographers, most of them will be at 1 out of 10. So when the buyer's scrolling down Google and they're seeing us with a massive number of boudoir photo shoots, or basically kind of with our option, then what actually happens is we're going to be seen as like super awesome solution. People are going to be wondering, why Google is recommending us 3 different times and everyone else only once. So that's why we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum is 3. And as we actually increase, some boudoir photographers rarely will actually have two slots on page one. So we actually want to hit those. And, when we hit those, we want to, or when they hit those, our 3 out of 10 slots will actually still overpower them. So it's essentially taking care of all scenarios. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So it's our micro universe here. Got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. We finally have a solution, thankfully. S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. This is our micro universe here. Now here are my results from using S-cubed methodology when I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So basically I wanted to rank for this keyword. So I already know, use S-cubed methodology. So we got me, organic slot Instagram here. Organic slot page 1. Organic slot page 2. Organic slot page 3. Slot 4. Well, I mean, not page 1, page 2. Slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4. Then we got slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. So we literally got slot 10, or we got 9 out of 10 slots, and we achieved this with only 10 days utilizing our S-cubed methodology. So these are my results I've gotten for it. All right, now to the main event here. You can see that this boudoir photography business has BSS, boudoir search sameness for the local search, for their local search and their city search. So, all right. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. So we gotta go down to the organic. So this is the local Portage Park. All right. All right, let's see. Nope. All right, there we go. See him right there. We got 1. All right, so we got 1 out of 10. Dude, we got BSS. Got local, for local search, we got BSS. We got 1 out of 10 slots. Google page 1. All right, let's go to city search now. Chicago ill. All right, so scrolling, looking. Nope. All right, dude, we're at 0 out of 10. So 1 out of 10 for local, 0 out of 10 for city. So it means we do have BSS for both of them, which means we are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for both local and city. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords and the highest intent, and you've done the city search for yourself for the highest intent buyer keywords, and you have BSS for one or both of them, and or you have not met the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots for one or both of them, and you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear. Okay, more boudoir photographers always over time. It's always increasing. And you want to kick out those current competitors. And you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the only path to successfully do that. But you're also thinking ahead of, man, AI is taking more and more people's jobs, it seems, every day. So if AI is taking more and more people's jobs every day, then there's probably going to be more and more. It's going to be like the third prong of things that's pushing more boudoir photographers in. It's not just new iPhone or new camera, it's now losing jobs due to AI. So you see, okay, more and more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market. We actually want to increase the kind of pre-fortify our position before this monster tsunami or kind of this increasing wave of new boudoir photographers enters the market, competing with us for page one. Want to kind of pre-fortify our positions in expectation. That kind of like the levees in New Orleans. I think it's like the built up sandbag things to keep the ocean at bay because the city is below sea level. And we actually want to decide you want to pre-fortify your position to also pre-fortify your position on Google page one to all the new boudoir photographers that will eventually be coming in because more and more people lose their job to AI. And you're also seeing, hey, S-cubed methodology is the only path for that. You've accepted that page one equality is a false belief, and Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to take. So you've accepted the false belief of page one inequality is false. So you want to use S-cubed methodology you see as the only solution, and you want the page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you know you need this on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also want the two hidden back-end benefits of successfully executing S-cubed methodology every single day, which is kind of the more we execute it, the keywords that we use that we're starting to rank for, show up social search for, saturate that, show up Google page one for. It's basically building thematic keyword columns attached to our entire internet brand, our social accounts, our website, out there in the minds of AI. So every single day we successfully execute methodology, we actually increase the probability that AI overview here recommends us, and Google still is about 90% of search, slowly decreasing every day though. So higher chance we get the premium placement slot here, AI overview, because it's pulling from, our frequency, our density, our authority, our age of these different thematic keyword columns that S-Cube allows us to tackle. So increase in probability of being shown up here and increase in probability of being showing up for all the AI search apps, ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, and we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. So kind of all this hidden back-end AI brain momentum every single day. It's kind of building up momentum every single day we execute methodology. And you're seeing, since my plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, that you decide you want to hop on this first, be a first mover, because every single day we execute methodology correctly. We're getting the initial benefits, the quick future benefits, and the longer term momentum AI brain recommendation benefits, building up the momentum, and you're putting massive gap between you and all the current competitors, and definitely all the ones that have not entered yet, but we know they will because AI will be taking a bunch of people's jobs. And so you want all that, and you also see if some other boudoir photographer in your same city were to work with me instead, that you would actually have to figure out S-cubed methodology on your own, and you would never actually know if you've rederived it correctly. And then you'd have to go equal our execution every single day, execute an S-cubed methodology, which you'd have to equal our effort and you'd have to be confident in it, which you would not have 100% confidence because you would not know if you've even derived S-cubed methodology correctly in the first place. And to do all that effort, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you. To actually close the gap, you'd have to double or triple outwork us every single day to close that gap. Basically kind of steal back that thematic keyword column momentum attached to your competitor's brand in the AI brain, the AI search brain, for all these AI apps, and pull it back to your brand. And so you decide, okay, screw that. I'd rather just be the first mover and not be dealing with the laggard position of not being, the #1 boudoir photographer in my city, because I know a ton of boudoir photographers going to be entering because of AI taking Peep's job. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. When I open my DMs for new patient intake, the hospital is currently closed. We're not currently taking in any new patients. But when I do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify for using S-cubed methodology.